As I predicted, this Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight was going to be pretty much a nothing burger. I literally stated that on Blue Sky, so really, it comes at no surprise. Now, I have watched a bunch of fights in the past, a lot of big fights. I'm no major boxing fan, I don't really keep up with it like I do as I keep up with, baseball and my team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I don't really watch a lot of fights, I don't watch a lot of MMA, but when it comes to like big name fights, the fights that a lot of people are talking about, I do look at those. I do like to watch those. For instance, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Manny Pacquiao, to name a few. And I'm sure I'm missing others. Who else? I know there's another one, Mexican fighter who is pretty big right now. Oh, Canelo. He's another good one. So yeah, I like to watch these boxers do their thing. These matches are always pretty fun, but sometimes they could just be simply not much. Usually when you have two amazing talented boxers that know what they're doing, a lot of the times, don't expect a knockout. Do not expect it. Expect a card. Expect winner by decision. Because only winner by decision is gonna determine the outcome of who's the winner. Never expect a knockout. Sure, you may get lucky and might see somebody land a good punch or two and their opponent stumbling and trying to keep themselves up, but most likely it's not really a knockout when it comes to fights like these. And when it comes to Jake Paul and Tyson, I expected a lot of flair, some pretty good pre-fights, but when it comes to the main event, I didn't expect much. In fact, you don't want to be disappointed. Keep your expectations low. That's all you gotta do. And of course, when it comes to the pre-fights, it was pretty good. I think there are only 2 pre-fights out of the 3 or 4 that were really, really good, that stood out even better than the main that stood out even better than the main event. And the 2 that I'm talking about are Mario Barrios and Fabio Ramos, which I had to read their names because it was an event that was very forgettable, but these 2 fights, I may not remember their names, but I could definitely see a lot of those moments in the back of my mind. I could see those moments again. And those 2 were really amazing Mexican fighters, and they gave it their all. Like, there were no hugging or kissing, none of that shit, they were just going at it, left hook, right hook, uppercuts. If one got too close, they would push each other away and just go at it. They beat the shit out of each other, and it was awesome to watch. There were a couple takedowns here and there, but no full-on knockouts. So of course, I had to go by a winner by decision. And I really couldn't tell who was going to be winning this fight. It was so good because I thought one fighter was going to be on top, and then all of a sudden the other fighter just makes a fucking comeback. It was awesome. But at the end of the fight, Mario Barrios is the one that came up on top, and good, congratulations, awesome, great, good for you. Now, that was a fight worth watching. Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano was actually a banger of a fight as well. But again, Katie just couldn't get her hands off of Amanda. It was so annoying. She continuously was hugging her, holding her, and most annoyingly, just headbutting the shit out of Amanda. Katie just kept throwing blows, but she kept eating more blows than she was throwing. In fact, it was more of a headbutt kind of thing. She just kept headbutting Amanda. So, all in all, in my opinion, I didn't really think Katie deserved to win. But who am I to say, really? I'm not like a judge, or nor am I a professional in boxing or whatever, or, I don't keep up with this sport as much. From an outsider looking in, looking at that fight, I felt like Amanda won the hearts of many while Katie just retained her title, kept her title really. And what is a title when everyone's booing you? If it was up to me, I'd rather get the cheers from the crowd than the title itself, but in my book, I think Amanda won, especially the way Katie fought, which was pretty dirty in my opinion. But that was a fight that was also just amazing and was a banger of a fight. So the main event, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Like I said earlier, I didn't think much of it. I kept my expectations low. And if you really think about it, it was like a big display of elder abuse. But no, it really isn't, because of course they both agreed on it. They set everything up. They put their money where their mouth is and, had a purse, which I think Jake Paul had a higher amount that he could win, or a higher amount of money that is being given to him for the fight compared to Mike Tyson, who has already all the money in the world that he wants or needs, in my opinion. He has a loving family, he's a pretty old guy, but with a youthful heart, a youthful spirit. Could just settle down, do his thing, and not have to worry about boxing. But it is good, to be 31 years old, never have seen Mike Tyson in the ring, to actually see him again. Maybe he may not be in his prime, right? He's not in his prime, but it felt like I was going back in time, just for a brief moment, what it's like to see this iconic fighter fight, or maybe what could be the last time. But who knows? They did ask him, are you gonna fight again? And he said, well, I don't know, you can't really tell, like, you could say no, but you just may come back again, like what happened last night, or, during that night. But there really wasn't much going on. There wasn't any crazy displays, or there wasn't really any taunting in Jake Paul's side, which is good, I could respect him for that. And sure, say what you want, he's not really like the greatest person, he's not like the nicest person, he's not, an amazing human being in my opinion. When it comes to like character, I'll give him at least some respect for at least fighting a 50-something-year-old guy who is a fucking monster in the ring. But it was weird. The fight was really, really weird. Because it's not because you had an influencer and an old guy go up against each other. It wasn't really that. If they were just both boxers, if you just looked at them both as boxers, given the fight was 16 minutes long, 2 minutes, 8 rounds, I believe I did my math correctly, there wasn't really that much going on. There wasn't really that many punches landed, very little in fact, and very little swinging action going on too. I mean, if you take a look at the previous fight, there was a lot more action going on, a lot more blows, and a lot more going on. And those are also 2-minute fights, 2-minute sessions, 2-minute rounds. But with this fight, the main event, they were just walking around, dancing in the ring. They weren't really fighting. And I get it, like, Mike Tyson has like this, rage and, enlightened passion to want to beat the shit out of his opponent. He has this biting fixation. Yes, I know about the ear biting, but he was biting his glove the whole time. And I was getting really annoyed because I'm like, bro, you're biting your glove, and are you taking your anger out on the glove and not on your opponent? What's going on? Like, I know you have a biting fixation, but come on, dude. Like, I had low expectations on this fight, but you're surpassing my expectation. You're making my expectations lower. They should have been lower is what I'm trying to say. my opinion of this fight should have been so much lower. But then again, I don't know, man. I don't know. This fight was disappointing. It was garbage. It sucked. But I'm not surprised. I'm not super disappointed, nor am I upset because, again, it's what I expected. It's what I mentioned. It's what I said. I was definitely proven right, especially given the history of all these other big, fights that I've seen. These big name fights, like Canelo fights, Oscar De La Hoya fights in the past, Floyd Mayweather fights, and those were all good fights. And this one wasn't that bad, but this is what happens when it comes to big contending fights. They're very tactical, strategical. They're gonna be talking a lot of mad shit before about, oh yeah, I'm gonna knock his ass out in the first round or in the fourth round. You know, don't listen into the hype. Don't buy into it. Just if you're an average boxing fan, this fight was pretty mediocre, but it wasn't. Maybe it could have been the worst fight, but I'm sure there's worse fights out there. But this is pretty much on par of what I expected. A lot of dancing, a lot of, walking around, a little bit of hugging here and there, a couple jabs, couple blows, just trying to get the technical hits, trying to get the points, be one up in the scorecard. And Jake Paul did it. He won. He beat Mike Tyson. So good for him. Good for him. It would be really interesting though to see Jake Paul go up against Floyd Mayweather or Canelo. I would like to see him fight Canelo and see how that pans out. But again, it's more technical than blood sport. It's more strategical than trying to knock your opponent out. That's all it really is. Boxing is not as gruesome as MMA. It's a very formal tactical sport, and that's kind of what you got. But yeah, and I know there was a whole issue when me and my family were watching on Netflix. There was a lot of buffering going on. There was some technical issues in here and there, but eventually we got to watch the whole fight, and it wasn't that bad when it comes to the buffering and such. But I'm pretty sure other people had it worse, and that's kind of what you get with streaming, It's not like cable TV, where it's more structured and, it's been around a lot longer compared to streaming. Streaming is still relatively new, even though so much has changed and evolved over the years. It's still fairly new compared to cable television. But, yeah. Anyways, like I said, everything was literally what I expected, so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Take care.